Is Kent Hughes about to face the most consequential roster decision of his tenure? Choosing between Nazem Kadri's offensive firepower and massive contract risk, or Ryan O'Reilly's proven leadership and financial flexibility. The emergency room of the Montreal Canadiens is overflowing, and the hole at center has become impossible to ignore. With Kirby Dach and Alex Newhook out of action, the Habs center depth has been brutally exposed, relying far too heavily on Nick Suzuki and Jake Evans. But help might be on the way, and it comes with championship pedigree. Strategic analysis published this weekend by the Hockey News identified two ideal trade targets that Kent Hughes should consider immediately. The explosive Nazem Kadri from the Calgary Flames and methodical Ryan O'Reilly from the Nashville Predators. This isn't about betting on young potential. This is about bringing men into a locker room full of boys. Both players have already hoisted the Stanley Cup. Both bring exactly what Montreal lacks: experience in pressure situations, knowledge of what it takes to win when games matter most. But each represents a completely different financial and tactical path forward. The question facing management is simple but consequential. Do you want a fire and long-term commitment of Kadri, or the stability and short-term flexibility of O'Reilly? Let's start with Nazem Kadri, because he's the kind of player who generates strong opinions. Kadri is the type of player you absolutely hate playing against and absolutely love having on your team. He plays on the edge, sometimes crosses it, but he brings an intensity and competitiveness that's infectious. Even on a weak Flames team that's struggling to find consistency, Kadri continues producing. He has 5 goals and 22 points in 29 games this season. Those aren't superstar numbers, but they're solid production from a player who could immediately upgrade Montreal's second line. Imagine him creating plays for Patrick Lane or Cole Caulfield, using his vision and playmaking ability to set up scoring chances. Martin St. Louis constantly talks about having players who are difficult to play against. Kadri is the definition of that philosophy. He gets under opponents' skin. He draws penalties. He protects teammates. He brings a physical edge and mental toughness that this young Montreal team desperately needs. When games get chippy, when opponents start taking liberties with your skilled players, Kadri is the guy who responds. That's valuable, maybe invaluable for a team trying to establish an identity. But here's where this gets terrifying from a management perspective. Kadri carries a cap hit of $7 million and is locked into the end of the 2028 to 2029 season. At 35 years old, you're committing $7 million per season for 4 more years to a player whose best days are clearly behind him. That's not just risky. That's potentially franchise crippling. Unless Calgary retains 50% of the salary, which would cost a fortune in assets, and still leaves Montreal paying $3.5 million through his late 30s, this contract could become an anchor exactly when the Habs championship window opens. The financial math is brutal. Montreal needs to pay Uri Slavkovsky. They need to pay Caden Gould. Eventually, they'll need to pay Ivan Demidov when he arrives. Lane Hudson will need a significant raise. Having $7 million tied up in an aging Nazem Kadri, when those bills come due, could force difficult decisions, like trading away young talent or letting key pieces walk in free agency. That's the kind of mistake that sets franchises back years. Now let's talk about Ryan O'Reilly, because if Kadri is a risk, O'Reilly is an insurance policy. O'Reilly is a Zelka Trophy winner as the league's best defensive forward. He's a Conn Smythe Trophy winner as playoff MVP. He plays the game the right way, every single shift, every single night. With 9 goals and 21 points in 27 games with the Predators, he's still producing offensively, but his real value is in the details. Face-offs, defensive positioning, penalty killing, making the smart play under pressure. The contract situation is what makes O'Reilly so attractive. Unlike Kadri's albatross, O'Reilly earns $4.5 million, and his deal expires in 2026 to 2027. That is short-term commitment of just 2 more seasons after this one. He serves as the perfect mentor for Suzuki and Doc when he returns, teaching winning culture and proper two-way play without blocking the salary cap long-term. When his contract expires, Montreal's young core will be ready to take over completely, and the cap space opens up naturally. The Nashville situation creates opportunity. The Predators have had a very difficult start to the season, sitting near the bottom of the standings with no clear path to contention. That makes selling veterans not just likely but necessary. The acquisition cost for O'Reilly would be reasonable because Nashville needs to get younger and accumulate assets. The cultural fit in Montreal would be immediate. O'Reilly is exactly the kind of professional that Kent Hughes values. Low maintenance, high character, leads by example. The tactical verdict comes down to what Montreal needs right now versus what they can afford long term. Kadri offers a higher ceiling. If Montreal wants to try reaching the playoffs through brute force, through adding offensive firepower and hoping it's enough, he's the guy. He'll score goals, create plays, and bring intensity every night. But he also brings significant risk. The contract is long. The age is concerning. The decline could be sudden and painful. O'Reilly offers a safer floor. He stabilizes the defense immediately. He improves a penalty kill, which has been inconsistent all season. He leads by example in ways that young players can emulate. He won't put up 40 goals, but he'll make everyone around him better. He'll win crucial face-offs. He'll shut down opponents' top lines. He'll be in the right position defensively every single shift. Those are the things that win playoff games, and O'Reilly has proven he can deliver in those moments. The analysis strongly suggests that due to financial constraints and Kent Hughes' long-term plan, Ryan O'Reilly emerges as the more logical option. Kadri's contract is simply too long for a team that needs to pay Slavkovsky, Gul, and eventually Demidov. Committing $7 million through 2029 to a player who will be nearly 40 when the deal expires is organizational malpractice. O'Reilly at $4.5 million for 2 more years is manageable, reasonable, and aligns perfectly with Montreal's competitive timeline. The season is at risk of slipping away if Montreal doesn't fill the middle of the ice. Waiting for Kirby Dach to return and be the savior is a flawed strategy. He's talented, but he's also injury-prone and inconsistent. You can't build a playoff push-around hoping a player stays healthy. You need certainty, and O'Reilly provides that. Bringing him in would be a masterstroke. He costs little in cap space. He brings instant credibility. He allows the young players to play without the pressure of carrying the team defensively. The comparison to what O'Reilly did in St. Louis is instructive. He went to a Blues team that was struggling, brought leadership and two-way excellence, and helped them win a Stanley Cup. Montreal isn't winning the Cup this year, but they can make the playoffs and give their young core valuable postseason experience. O'Reilly is exactly the kind of player who makes that possible. He won't be the leading scorer, but he'll be the guy who wins the important face-off late in the third period, who kills the crucial penalty, who makes the smart defensive play that preserves a 1-goal lead. If Kent Hughes is listening to the hockey news, and he should be because their analysis is sound, the phone in Nashville's general manager should be ringing right now. Barry Trotz needs a sell. He has veterans on expiring or short-term deals. He needs to get younger and rebuild. O'Reilly is the perfect trade chip, valuable enough to command real assets, but not so expensive that teams can't afford him. Montreal has the draft picks and prospects to make competitive offer without gutting their future. The time to act is now, before another team recognizes the opportunity and swoops in, before the price goes up as the trade deadline approaches, before the season slips completely away and the playoff dream dies. Ryan O'Reilly represents stability, leadership, and winning culture at a price Montreal can afford. Nazem Kadri represents offensive upside and intensity at a price that could cripple the franchise. The choice should be obvious. The question is whether Kent Hughes has the courage to make it. Should Montreal go all in on O'Reilly's proven leadership and reasonable contract, or take the risk on Kadri's offensive firepower despite the long-term financial danger? Which path makes more sense for a team still building towards sustained contention? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that like button if you think Ryan O'Reilly is exactly what the Canadiens need right now.